All right, welcome everybody to Interviews with Experts here with UProfit Pro, and I'm delighted to be having a conversation today with a guy who I've known for years in this industry. He's been, beyond successful. He's one of these top producers, one of the people that a lot of people look at and say, well, you know, if I could be as successful as that guy, because he's made his success known, and it's no secret that this guy has become an influence in the lives of many people throughout the direct selling world, throughout the network marketing industry. And he's done that by applying some strategies which served him in his previous life and other endeavors. But now here with the direct selling network marketing world, once again, he's seeing these things play out. So I'm just happy to be here with everyone today sharing Mr. Michael Hamburger. Welcome to the interview. Michael, how are you, sir?
John, I'm doing fantastic. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today.
Awesome. Michael, we've known each other for some time now. I remember back in the old days, when we were both sort of wet behind the ears, getting to know each other. And I think the first time we met in person was in Fiji or something. Is that right?
That's correct. We met, I can tell you, we did a jet boat ride the very first day. My fiance at the time, my beautiful wife, arrived in Fiji. We're out on a jet boat. Me, you, Leslie, your beautiful wife, Shannon, and we were out playing like madmen and mad women doing that crazy jet boat.
That's right. And we've come a long way since then. Although hanging out on jet boats in Fiji isn't too shabby, but yeah, a lot of time has gone on, a lot of money's been made, a lot of people have been served. And now here we are as leaders in the industry, and no longer I'm not as much of a beginner as I was 10 years ago. So I'll just leave it at that. But here we are, and there's been a lot of people affected by your work, my work, et cetera. What I want to get with you today, Michael, and for all of our listeners, for all the people here in the UProfit Pro community, I think a lot of people are obviously looking for a quick route to success. But at the same time, they want that success to last, right? I mean, it's one thing to make money this week or this year, but, how about next year? Assuming we're going to continue to survive, we're going to have to continue to succeed and building on our successes. And you've done this in a way that, well, I could just say for everybody right here listening right now, if you don't know Michael, he's a guy who I think operates with a lot of honor, okay? And everybody who knows me and knows my work knows that this whole word integrity is important to me. And here's a guy who maybe you could talk a little bit about your background prior to becoming a selling professional, what that means, what these ideas of honor and integrity and what you applied to become this influential top producer and now a person who's recognized around the world. So we'd love to hear about that, Michael. And for the majority of our audience are either new in business or we've got some seasoned veterans listening as well. But all, I think, have the same desired outcome, which is to have that kind of experience that you've had and that I've had throughout the years. So what can you tell us about what led up to all this?
Well, first off, let me just say to your listeners, to your veterans out there, congratulations for being relentless no matter what and being unstoppable. And to the brand new people, welcome to the game. This is a game changer for sure. It'll change your life if you stay in the game long enough to allow it to do that. John, just to digress for a moment, my background, pretty vanilla. I spent 6+ years in the United States Marine Corps and enjoyed the daylights out of that. I'm an adrenaline junkie by nature, so that was just a great experience for me. But I got out. I had my first real introduction to being an entrepreneur, and I owned a landscape company back in Atlanta, Georgia. And unfortunately, my best friend and business partner was killed in a single vehicle motorcycle wreck, and that forced me to really change gears, stop working with my back, start working with my brain. I started in the telecommunication and data industry and worked my way up to a Fortune 50 company and was doing really, really well until about, 2003 is when I finally had enough pain that I took my hand off the proverbial burner and got started in network marketing. But actually, it goes back even further than that. In 1998, I had my first experience in network marketing. I had a great sponsor. I had a great opportunity. But unfortunately, I wasn't ready for it. I dwindled it. Instead of being coachable, instead of being trainable, instead of following the recipe for success, I became a trailblazer, did things my way, and after 6 weeks, I threw my hands in the air in disgust with the industry, with myself, with everything, and walked away, went back just to my job, and things were hunky-dory. But like I said, back in 2003, the MCI WorldCom debacle was in full swing. And the entire telecom industry was just getting the daylights beat out of it. So I I actually was on a trip with my sponsor who got me started the first time. And I said, this network marketing thing looks pretty good. Let's get going. And I can tell you this, within 21 days, I retired my wife from her job. 1 week later, day 28, I left my job that I was making over $150,000 a year. And first year in network marketing, I was able to double my income. So it's been just a whirlwind. That goes back nearly a decade ago. And I can tell you that, for all of our listeners here today, it doesn't matter if you're brand new. It doesn't matter if you've been doing this as long as John and I, maybe longer. Doesn't make a difference. The bottom line is that you've got to stay in the game. What I learned as a United States Marine is that you've got to, number one, always operate where it's esprit de corps. Operate so it's bigger than you. It's about the big team. It's about the community. But also you've got to learn how to, every action that you take, whether positive, whether negative, it has impact on somebody else next to you. And so always, always, always operate with integrity. Do what you say you're going to do by the time you say you're going to do it. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I learned, John, I learned from experts of the day, the leaders in the company where I was, is that if I would stay in the game long enough, and if I would make sure that I stayed out of my story, meaning that I wouldn't justify or come up with an excuse, a reason that would give myself permission to let myself off the hook, if I would stay crystal clear as far as what my goals were, if I'd stay crystal clear as what my daily method of operation is, if I would just stay laser focused and know exactly where I was going and follow the prescribed recipe, it's no different than baking a cake. You know, John, you're there in Tucson. I'm here in Houston, Texas. We could both go to the same Piggly Wiggly grocery store, buy the same Betty Crocker cake. I like lemon cake, so I say, John, go buy a lemon cake. And we both go to our homes. We make the exact same cake, same ingredients, same prescribed quantities, same heat, same duration in the oven. Our cake's going to be virtually the same. And that's no different than network marketing, this experience that we call the network marketing profession. There's always going to be a systematic standpoint. Companies have realized long ago that if they can minimize the risk, if they can minimize the failure, if they can really show people a system that can be duplicated by anybody, that's where the true value for communities and for companies, ultimately, that's where it really resides.
That's absolutely it. And I'll tell you, I've talked about duplication and minimizing those variables quite often. And certainly that's what we're putting together here with You Profit Pro. It's something that's easy to duplicate because everybody can use the same stuff. But you brought up a couple of points which I've got to touch on, Michael, and that is your background. While you say it's vanilla, I mean, I've never been in the U.S. Marines. I hear that's not an easy route, right? That will certainly shape some person's character, I would imagine. And then here you were in corporate. And that seems like those two worlds seem so different than network marketing. And I've been around corporatism. I know how different that can be. But in the military, right? So there's like three completely different schools of thought, I think. And yet here you were embracing network marketing again after having had a less than stellar experience with it. And whereas I think a lot of people may have said, well, that's not a real business. That's not real. But you came here and you doubled your income your first year, retired your wife, retired yourself. That's spectacular, man. What do you think it took to sort of transition out of that old school of thought into this other one, this entrepreneurship?
Well, for one, as Les Brown loves to say, you got to be hungry. I've seen so many people come to our industry because something doesn't work. I mean, I've talked to CEOs, CFOs, COOs, doctors, lawyers, and people that were making a ton more money than I ever have. But I'll tell you, they always have pain. And so when I came to this industry, John, it was because I had something in my life that was causing pain. My experience in the Marine Corps was amazing. I enjoyed the daylights out of it. I was decorated. I was meritoriously promoted. I could have seen myself doing that for years and years, but I really wanted to make some money. And then when I went to the telecom, out into the corporate world, I was making good money as far as what they said, right? $150,000 a year, not bad. We know network marketing, that can be a monthly income for some folks.
Sure.
But when I was out in the telecom arena, something happened that was beyond my